Hi, this is Rob Leo, and in this tutorial we're going to take a look at some of the changes that Google has recently made to Google Classroom. If you viewed previous tutorials, please note that some of the terminology and language might be slightly different. They simply added a little bit of functionality to make teaching with Google Classroom a little bit easier. So to get started, I'm just going to go to Google Classroom's homepage. I'm here at classroom.google.com. And I was always frustrated because it seemed like you could never reorder your classes. For whatever reason, they're just kind of there in whatever order you've created them. But now you can drag them around. So if you want to reorder your dashboard and kind of place the classes you're teaching or prioritize whatever, you can kind of put them in order just by simply dragging them around. So that's kind of convenient. We're going to be taking a look at a specific class, and we're going to continue to look at some of the things teachers can now do. In this particular class, I've got quite a few assignments that are listed. I've only got one student enrolled. However, when we go to the student page, we can click on the student's name, and we have a brief view, just a student view, I guess, of student work. So you can see all of the work the student has done up to this point. And you can even use the filters to see what's been turned in, see what's been returned with a grade, see what's missing. Just gives you a better ability to kind of track each student's progress in a course that you're teaching. Speaking of grading, what we're going to do as well is if we look at some of those assignments, let's click back on an assignment where we've got a grade. They've made it now possible to assign higher point values, or decimal point values. So let's say if you want to assign 10.5 points, you can now include the decimal 10.5. And that's not been returned yet, but I certainly can return that. And that will impact the gradebook that you keep in Google Classroom. If you've forgotten, the gradebook can be found by clicking the gear, and you can look at all of the grades in a Google Sheet. You can download all of the grades as a CSV or comma separated value file, which opens with Microsoft Excel, or you can download just these grades for this particular assignment. Other stuff you can do when it comes time to share your class code with students. This used to be on the student page. There's the class code. Sure enough, it's still here. But now when you click the drop-down arrow, notice there's a display option. So if you're displaying this in the front of the class, you don't have to enlarge your screen to show that small string of characters. You can now click display. It shows you a nice box with the class code to join. You can even make that full screen. Much more convenient for students to see. When you're all set, you can get out of full screen, or you can X out of display mode altogether. And of course, you can continue to copy, reset, or disable your code as time goes on. So another just aesthetic change, if you go to the About page, you may recall this was organized a little bit differently, but now you can see there's a little box that includes access to the class drive folder, the classroom calendar, as well as the Google Calendar for this particular class. Let's take a look at this, what this looks like from the student point of view. I'm now going to pull up the student screen, and if I click on classmates, notice I can't really click on my own name like I could in the teacher view. However, from the About page, there is a link now, in addition to the class drive folder, the calendar, and the Google Calendar. You can now also click on your work. And you can see, just like the teacher view, all the assignments, the ones you've turned in, the ones that have been graded, the ones you are missing. Notice the grade has been changed and it is reflected here. In the old version, I was always recommending that you kind of click on the menu and go to work, but obviously they changed that because work is no longer here. They called it to do. And you can now see to do and done as a way to filter through the assignments you've completed. I still recommend you do this here through Google Classroom rather than doing it through Google Drive. Everything is nicely organized right here. And again, if we return back to the class, once again, that's located on the About page where you'll click on Your Work. So just an easier way to navigate, not only for students, but also for teachers. And hopefully you'll find these changes to be positive. If you have a recommendation, you'll notice that there's a little question mark in the bottom corner. If you were to send feedback, Google takes this feedback very seriously. They have a very aggressive update schedule, which usually makes my video tutorials irrelevant once once I produce them. But you could offer your suggestions to Google. And again, they take teacher feedback very seriously. You could even include a screenshot of what you mean. And once they get enough feedback from enough teachers, they'll make a change to the platform. So hopefully you enjoy Google Classroom and continue to make improvements to it. Thanks for listening, and I hope you found this useful.